Okay, today we're going to learn the Prusik knot, and we're going to start with an old-fashioned Prusik loop, and all it is a piece of cordage, and it's tied together with a double fisherman's knot. If you don't know how to tie this knot, I've got a video on that you can check out, but it's a fairly simple knot to learn. But it creates a loop, and we're going to tie a Prusik knot onto this piece of rope here. Now, as a general rule, we always want our Prusik loop to be smaller than the rope that we're tying it onto. Now, there are exceptions, but as a general rule, it's going to work much better if it's smaller. This is about a 12 millimeter rope, and this is about an 8 millimeter cordage. So that's a good ratio right there. But if I want to tie it on here, all I have to do, and I'm going to use this knot as my guide. Basically, we're going to be tying a girth hitch 3 times. That's all a Prusik is. So if I were to do this once and tighten it up, I think most people would recognize that as a girth hitch. But what we're going to do is we're going to do that 3 times. So take that knot, drape it over your rope, keep everything nice and loose. Do 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, everything's nice and loose. Now, if I were to pull this and tighten this, this knot would be in our way because we're going to be putting a carabiner in here at some point. So while it's nice and loose, just pick a side, it doesn't matter, and just take all the slack out of one side. Okay, and what that does when you pull it is it moves your knot to one of your side legs. Okay, now at this point we need to dress this knot. And the easiest way to dress a knot is to find the trigger, which is this right here, this horizontal piece. And remember, that trigger is always going to go to the outside of your Prusik, just like it is over here. So while it's loose, I'm going to move this all the way to the very end. And just by that simple maneuver, it cleaned up my Prusik knot. Okay? Now, as you can see, this is not grabbing at the moment. Before you ever put your live weight onto a system with a Prusik, always set your knot. Okay, and all that means is get all of the slack out of here to where it grabs. And once you get it fairly snug, just hold your rope and just jerk it both ways, and that's going to set your knot. Okay, so if I put a carabiner here and pull, if I pull on this, it's not going anywhere. If I go the other direction and I pull, it's not going anywhere. Okay, and the beauty of the Prusik is that I can slide this knot either direction. I can go this way with it, I can go this way, and then when I put my weight on it, it's going to grab instantly. Okay, but you have to set that knot first. That goes for climbing rope, that goes for haul systems, everything. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there for now, and we're going to go to another form of a Prusik loop. And this is a Sewn Prusik loop by PMI, and obviously this is where your carabiner is going to go, and it's the same principle. You're going to do it 3 times. You're going to do 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and again, just like this one, we have to set this knot. Okay, get all that slack out and give it a hard pull in both directions, and that should be able to lock it in place. Okay, so there's version 2. All right, and just to give you one more example, these Sewn Prusiks always come as a set. The other one's over here, I'll show you in a second for this one. But this is another example. This is by CMC, and these are sewn parallel to each other, and that's all you have, versus the way PMI does it. Both are quality products. And if you'll notice, there are two different colors, and there are two different lengths of loop, and these are meant to be worked in tandem. So this is your longer loop. So we'll go ahead and set this guy over here. We'll do this one first. Okay, and treat this just like a knot. So while it's still loose, pull one side, get all the slack out. Okay, I put the sewn part to the side, and on this one we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, and 3. While it's still loose, we're going to pull. Okay, now we got to dress this knot up. Remember, your trigger goes all the way to the outside, and then the little inner loop will go on the very center. So let's move this over so we can see a little better. So this is good, but we need to move this strand over to the center. Okay, and that fixed the right hand side. Trigger needs to go to the very outside, and that fixed that. Okay, so these are meant to work in tandem, which means I'm going to be putting a carabiner where my finger is, and these are meant to be pulled just like this, and ideally each knot is going to be grabbing this rope equally. And I'll show you an example over here. And what I did is I set up a basic belay. Don't mind my dog, he's barking at something. But all right, and it's the same principle. Okay, and this is the PMI, and the green is the longer strand, the red is the shorter. And if I were to pull on this is just a basic belay. These two strands are going to grab equally. Okay, and this has a Prusik mounted pulley. So if we're actually going up the hill and I'm taking slack up, you notice the Prusiks collapse. But if I change directions, they'll instantly grab. Okay, so if I pull up, they collapse. I pull that way, they grab. And this is a nice example of a tandem Prusik system. And over here, I tension this line using a Prusik also. And it's pulling this rope tight, and the Prusik is keeping all the tension on this. And all I did was take a pulley and pull and set that knot. All right. All right, so here are 3 examples of Prusiks. I'll move these over here. I want to show one more thing, and that is how to tie a Prusik onto itself. Just like this. This is a Purcell Prusik Loop. People use it to climb rope and other ways in rope rescue, but I'm going to show you how to tie this Prusik onto this loop. Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there as an example. So what you're going to start with is your knot up here, which I'll make another video how to tie this whole system. But right now I just want to show how to tie this Prusik, because you're going to end up with one big loop and you need a Prusik onto here. So what you do is you find the very end of the loop, put it over your hand, spread your hand apart, and take this line and just loosely wrap your pinky 3 times. Okay? Come over here on your thumb, do the same thing 3 times. So this is what you should end up with. Turn your hand around, put your thumb and your pinky together. When you're doing that, take your trigger, put it back over, okay? And what we're gonna want right now is to put all 6 loops on one finger, okay? And keep them loose because you're gonna have to slide a knot through that. So hopefully this camera's picking up everything up. Okay, so everybody see my Prusik knot? Okay, now we gotta take all of this through there and just slowly work it, keep everything loose. Okay, that's the first obstacle. The next one's going to be the knot. Okay, and hopefully I'm not losing everyone here. But the knot has to go through next. And you got one more right here. Okay, so we got over that hurdle. Now we want to find our bottom loop. And what you're going to end up with initially is a big old mess. Okay, but our principles still apply. So here's our center strands, and we want to find our trigger. Remember, our trigger goes to the very end. Okay. Okay. So we want to take the slack out. Hopefully I'm picking up all this. All right. Now if I pull that, okay. Now, hopefully you can see my Prusik. Okay, I got a Prusik on a loop now. Got a little bit of a twist on one of these loops. But, okay, if I use that, I can slide this up and down, forming different size loops, okay? And that's going to match this guy here. Okay, if I turn it that way. All right. Hopefully that helps. That's several ways on how to tie a Prusik, and very handy and essential knot for rope rescue. And here's my dog Jack. All right, hope that helps, and I'll see you on the next one.